Okay. So we all know what Lana said at Battleground, which, you know, I can see why people would think that they were talking about the Malaysian airline. And I can see why people will be upset about it, because in a way WWE is exploiting the deaths of over 200 people. But the question I want to ask you, are you that surprised that WWE was going to do something like this? I mean, come on, people. This is the WWE we're talking about. They're going to do whatever it takes to get some publicity, you know, and it could be good or bad publicity, but it's still publicity. And yes, people may say this is unwanted attention, but at the end of the day, it is attention. So anyway, my thoughts on what she said, you know, when I heard what she said, yes, it did kind of made reference, in my opinion, to the whole Malaysian incident, Malaysian airline incident. But then WWE came out and said, well, she wasn't really talking about that. But we're still sorry if people actually thought that. Again, I really feel that WWE was just playing damage control because of this. And because of this situation, Lana and Rusev are sort of in hot water about this whole gimmick. Now, I've been hearing from a lot of people who feel that they should stop the gimmick altogether. I don't think so, because even though that it was a little bit tasteless of what Lana said to try to get some heat and stuff like that, even though it's the writer's idea to have her say to get the heat, so I wouldn't put total blame on Lana. Even though creatively it kind of makes sense, seeing that they're playing a Russian gimmick. Now, I haven't been up on the whole story of what was going on, whether America was blaming Russia for the shutdown, but it would seem that if there was a complaint, that any Russian would kind of feel like, why are you blaming us? So everything that happens in there, it's our fault and stuff like that, you know. So it makes sense creatively and continuity wise for the character who happens to be playing a Russian to address that issue. So it makes sense, but at the same time, it can be considered in poor taste, you know. But what other media exploits other things, like things that happen around the world, that is not in poor taste? You know what I mean? So it's not the first time WWE has done this, and it probably won't be the last. So I wouldn't complain too much about it, you know. My concern is that I was hoping that Rusev and Lana don't get the same treatment as what happened to Muhammad Hassan. You know, if you remember what happened, they did this angle with The Undertaker where masked henchmen came in, attacked him, rushed him using piano string and strangling and stuff like that. And then all of a sudden, a few days later, there was an incident in London, a terrorist incident in London, and then all of a sudden WWE is like, and then the media is saying, oh, we saw this, why would you do this and stuff like that, even though this happened a few days before that whole segment actually aired, because it was on a SmackDown. Everyone knows SmackDown is actually a taped show. And then because of the incident and WWE had to play damage control, they had to stop the gimmick altogether. And they tried to do something else with them, and unfortunately it didn't happen. And this was one of the gimmicks that I really was into and hoping that he could be a big star from it. And he could have been. But alas. But anyway, that was what I was kind of afraid that was going to happen to Rusev and Lana, because I myself am a big fan of those two. I like the gimmick. It was working, in my opinion, despite what people think that, oh, Lana's the one that's getting over, not Rusev. But the whole purpose of a mouthpiece is to talk for the wrestler so they don't have to speak. I mean, he's speaking less. That adds the mystery to who Rusev is. But as we saw on Monday, they're still on the roster. They're not changing anything. They're still being pro-Russian. They might, you know, downplay the whole Vladimir Putin references. But what I found out that really did upset me was they were actually gonna nix the whole storyline between him and Jack Swagger. And I really feel that out of all the people who is suffering from this now is indeed Jack Swagger and Zeb Coulter. I mean, them of all people are gonna suffer from this. You know what I mean? They're actually doing a good gimmick and a good storyline to the whole "We the People" thing. I mean, I've been a fan of the whole "We the People" thing, you know what I mean? But we finally had a chance to see Jack Swagger do something with it that really made people want to connect. And even though it was connecting when he was being like the whole anti-immigration type thing, but this was something that it boosted people's spirits. And now they have to cut this because the media is being too oversensitive about the whole thing, what Lana said and what the WWE creatives done. They feel that we're going to have to stop doing this. I mean, this, in my opinion, was a money-making feud, in my opinion. And it was actually making both men credible, to be honest with you. We actually saw that Rusev, you know, can be hurt, that he's actually human. Kind of like how Drago, when he first bled against Rocky, boom, he is human. He's not a machine. And we saw that Jack Swagger was exploiting that weakness. But now they have to go back to square one with probably Jack Swagger, but they're still going to continue with Rusev and Lana. I just don't think it's fair. And if it was the other side of the coin, if they stopped using Rusev and said we have to go back to the drawing board, I would have felt the same way. But with Jack Swagger and Zeb Colter to be on the drawing board again and stopping this feud, which was supposed to be a few months, it didn't seem fair to me. And I think that the media was very insensitive, and also people on the internet, and also people who are pro-American was very insensitive about what just happened, you know. So, but at the same time, you know, continuity wise, it made sense creatively for her to mention the current events, whether she was referencing the shutdown or not. But I can see why people feel that it was in poor taste, because in a way it is kind of explaining the deaths of the people who died and stuff like that, just to boost up the character of Rusev and Lana. But it's not the first time WWE's done that. Remember Sergeant Slaughter being the Iraqi sympathizer? Enough said. But anyway, what do you guys think about this situation with Lana and Rusev? Do you think that they should stop the gimmick altogether and have them go back to the drawing board and do something new? Or do you think that the media was being too overly sensitive about the whole thing, and should he still do what he's doing but tweak it a little bit so it doesn't become offensive to the people who are crybabies about it? But like I said, leave your comments down below. Tell me what you guys think about the situation, and we'll see what goes from there. Alright guys, take care.